Yo, what's going on? We back with a quick episode for the SHU program. We wanted to put out a video to give our quick impressions before the official release of Bethesda Games Works and Xbox's latest, biggest exclusive, probably the biggest exclusive since the Xbox Series X, since Halo Infinite, Starfield. And we wanted to give our quick impressions about the game, the pros and the cons, everything that's got, social media buzzing over the game right now. We got it. We were able to get the Game Pass. Some of us got the Game Pass version where we were able to play the game 5 days early. So a lot of people today, as of right now, we're filming on a Tuesday. Recording on a Tuesday, and the game will be out in a few hours. But we want to give you guys an impression of what we have played so far. Marv, let's go with you because you are. Let's go. Actually, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing first? How y'all enjoying the game?
We good. Hey, the game is phenomenal, man. The game is phenomenal.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes, I know. I understand that this is Marv's. I think you played Fallout before, but you don't really play Bethesda games like that. So, give us your take on Starfield. Your first impression.
My first impression, I mean, honestly, if this is what they've been doing, and this is like the precipice of all of their work, I mean, it's a pretty outstanding game. I think, in my opinion, I couldn't really ask for anything much more outside of stuff that's just highly aspirational. I think the graphics are incredible. It's almost, I would say this is the first video game I played where it's literally overwhelming. Like Grand Theft Auto, typically when those drop, you'd be like, man, it's so much to do. But after a while, you kind of find your way. This, it's literally so much stuff to do. It's kind of like, I don't really know where to start. It's like you just kind of fall into things. Like dead serious. It's almost like being a part of a 16 season show. It's like when you think it's done, you end up finding something else and you just keep going with more stuff. So it's absolutely incredible. I mean, it's highly immersive. The create a character option and the fact that you can even change it later. I mean, like, I've never seen it create a character system this complex and this deep ever. Like, it's literally, I would say it would be a disservice if you're a serious gamer to not at least play Starfield a little bit. You ain't even have to beat it, just play the game. Like, it's crazy.
Gotcha.
It's so much stuff to do, and there's so many different ways to experience this game. Even if you think you're not doing it right, it's kind of like it's your own experience, and there's consistent ways of just being able to kind of change it and tweak it to your liking, or just trying it a different way. Like, I feel like even after I beat this game, I'm probably gonna go back and replay it just to be like, okay, what did I forget to do? What's stuff that I just didn't finish? And if I did it this way, what would happen? Like, it's honestly like its own universe, bro. I'm at a lost words. I'm at a lost words. I genuinely think I'm still standing by my statement that it's definitely gonna be a contender for Game of the Year. Now I don't know when the DLC and the expansion is supposed to release, but this game is insane. It is literally insane. And gameplay is smooth. Me personally, I haven't ran into any bugs. The only bug that I ran into is the same that Jay ran into with the character face orientation, where it's like at one point it's like a character just be looking in one direction, but you still moving around in a standard direction. Other than that, I hadn't ran into like the game lagging. I haven't seen any crashes. I haven't seen any just random weird things happening, like characters are standing on random NPCs standing on tables and just strange stuff like that, man. Like, it's been a truly smooth experience. I would say my cons that I would say
Wait.
Honestly,
We're gonna hold the cons off because we got too many.
It's too many positives, bro.
I know.
It's serious.
Right. Save that. We're gonna get the pros and cons for sure. EJ, what's your first impressions?
So,
Because let me preface this because EJ here has had the last big release was Cyberpunk 2077. And this guy here was the most excited out of all of us for Starfield. So we really got to hear your impressions, especially coming from someone that's a fan of Bethesda games.
So Fallout 4, as Mark can attest to, I spent hours on that game. Like that, I probably played that game for a total of hours more than any game I've probably ever played in my life. Like it was that good. Like it was a phenomenal game. So they had a lot riding on Starfield, obviously with their biggest game release since Fallout 4. We don't get into Fallout 76 because that was a mishap and that wasn't Todd Howard's team. But I will say my first impressions are I'm blown away by it. I think me personally, I was a little upset the first day when I started seeing the reviews come out, and they were like 7 from GameSpot, 7 from IGN, and then after that, I actually started seeing what other companies and what other people were doing online. But they were saying that people were giving it like 95 out of 100 and 100 and 97 out of 100, and I was like, sum it up. You already know how IGN be. Jay always say it. IGN is biased towards PlayStation, which is true because it don't make sense that there's IGN all over the world and all the IGNs all over the world give it 95 or above, and then the one in America gives it a 7. So I'm just like, all right, bro, whatever. But hopping into the game, bro, I think Marv said it earlier. It's just like there's so much shit to do, man. Like you think you go one place, you do one thing, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go on to this next quest, but then you get stopped by like 2 or 3 other NPCs. And you got to go do quests for them, like their own side quests. And them side quests might take you somewhere where you might find some crazy piece of loot, or it could just be a regular random side mission where you're just helping somebody out because you're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart. Like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff on here. Not even to mention the ship building, which I haven't even gotten into yet, the outpost building, which I haven't touched yet. Basically, just going from system to system and just how all that stuff is set up. I'm thoroughly impressed. As me and you, Jay, have been talking about, there are, like we're not getting the cons, but we, as just to briefly touch on it, there are some things that were said in the media about the game that might not be true, but I will say overall, this is a more than worthy successor to Fallout 4, Skyrim, and all the rest of the games that Bethesda has made so far.
Awesome. Okay. I would have to agree with both of you guys. I think this game has so much content. It has so much content. Like I've only done like 3 or 4 missions of the main quest because I keep getting sidetracked so much because there's just so many side quests to do, and it's not boring side quests. We've all played those type of games where they've had all these kind of these pitch what they call them, fetch quests. All these weird fetching quests that kind of are very boring and dilute the game. But there's fetch quests in these too, but it makes it interesting because there's things that happen along the quest that you weren't even prepared for, and stuff that happens. It's Marv actually just came across a derelict ship. Well, he thought it was derelict, and it's a whole venture with that. It's crazy. I'm thinking I'm helping somebody on the ship, and they turn on me like, "Hey, we know you. we gonna rob you and take everything you got." I'm like, "This is interesting. It's very. People are saying it's not immersive, and I think that's where we're gonna talk about next. But people are saying it's not immersive. I think it is immersive, but the problem is people have expectations of what this game, of what they want this game to be, and I think that's part of the problem. And this is where we get to the cons of the game. For me personally, I love the combat. I love the dialogue tree. I do like how the fast travel system is, but at the same time, like how me and the fellas spoke about earlier, I do wish there was a certain freedom when it came to traveling around solar systems. For example, you can set a course to a solar system and get to a planet's orbit. But if you wanted to get to another planet that's in that same system, you have to fast travel to it instead of just driving over there with your ship. And I think that kind of loses some of the immersion. What do you guys think about that when it comes to the ship travel?
I get it, but at the same time, I feel like it's a tech thing, me personally, because I think the whole thing of everyone would just be like, oh, but I want to have the seamless ability to be able to go from planet to planet. I think with how many planes they got in the game, how many different systems they have in the game, and if you have to scale it, and if you're thinking about that in realism, fast travel kind of makes sense. Now, the thing which I'm not really bugging out about is just kind of like what you all were saying in our chat earlier about like you can't really fly around the planet. Now, me personally, I don't know if that theory has been tested already. I just feel like it'll take forever, but I feel like it's possible. But I think the biggest thing about that my qualm about space travel is that navigating the space map can be a little bit like confusing at times, and I don't like you can't really rotate the planet map. Like, you know, yes, it kind of like tilts. I can't like turn it. Have y'all noticed that yet?
You're right. I agree. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
like
right.
that part I don't like. I don't like. You can't really like, in my opinion, make waypoints. Now, what I did find out earlier is that for stuff you've been to, you can place like a marker and land there, but that's not the same as a waypoint. Like me personally, if I set a waypoint just randomly on a map, I ought to be able to use my scanner, and then it shows the arrows on the ground for me to be able to get to the waypoint. I haven't been able to do that yet, or maybe I'm doing it wrong. But again, it's like, so far as the UI and maneuverability in that regard, I feel like it can be a little bit confusing and daunting, and that can be polished. But for the most part, I think space travel and what they're trying to do, it kind of makes sense. Now, the thing is about like what Jay was saying, you can't just go straight to your destination. I think the reason why they don't want to make it that way is so that you touch all the planets. So it's like, hey, if you're going to make me have to like hopscotch around with the grab jump in order to be able to get to certain places, the real reason why they're doing it is because it's like, hey, we're going to basically force you to discover these places versus you being like, hey, I'm only going to go here and never see anything in between, and nor will I have a double back to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. Right. Whereas you can kind of identify these landmarks, and now it's on your map and it's spoken as something, and you can pretty much double back, and at least you got a name to be able to attach to whatever the planet of the system is. Now, outside of that, I don't really get the purpose, but I get it for that main portion to possibly immerse a player and players in general more into the game versus just treating this, all the work that they put in the story, just some surface thing, and then you just keep it pushing.
What about you, EJ?
Repeat the question real quick, because I had to step out for a quick second. Just want to make sure I answer the question correct.
Yeah, the space travel, does it because of the space travel isn't like, you know, games like No Man's Sky where you can leave in and out the orbit. You can travel to distant planets at will whenever you want. It's not relying on the fast travel system. Do you lose your immersion? Is that a con for you? Is that an issue for the game? Does that what is your feelings on that?
I don't think that I lose my immersion. I'll say I never anticipated Starfield being able to let you fly from the ground to the sky, just knowing the type of company that Bethesda is. Now, there are a lot of people out there who don't know how Bethesda is with their games and stuff like that. And I didn't think, Marvin made a good point. It's just like the scale and the size of this game would have to be enormous for stuff like that to actually happen in this game, for them to actually try to make a Bethesda game with the story, the background, all the perks, everything you can do, and then add in No Man's Sky together. Like, the game would have to be absolutely massive, and it really would be a 25-year game in the making if they did that. Like, honestly, because like that would be too big to do. So I don't think it was a thing for me where it took me out of like the immersion of the game. One thing that I agree with you on, which you spoke on earlier, which is just being able to travel inter-solar system to other planets and other moons and other bodies within that same solar system. Like, I fully expected that, because the way they kept saying, like, oh, you'll be able to travel at will, and you can go one of the most heralded way, like, this will be the first game where you can do, like, they kept saying a lot of buzzwords. And so I was like, okay, well, there's got to be some space travel, because what's the point of us making ships if it's like there's no space travel? Now, I will disagree with a lot of people online. People are like, oh, what's the point of having ships, because there's really no travel? Like, there's enough stuff to do in your ship that I feel warrants and merits you into putting time and effort into the shipbuilder, being able to do that, and all the ship fighting that you do in the game, and like, so there is definitely points to it, like to carrying cargo and going from different system to system. So I think having a ship and being able to do all that is worth it. But one key thing they missed out was that opportunity of being able to fly, like, from planet to planet. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking of it like GTA, kind of like, I'm going back to like GTA San Andreas, where like, I'm in the car, I got the music on, like there should be a button where I can press, where I can put the radio on, and I can fly from Earth's moon to Mars. You know what I mean? Like, and make it a
Right.
realistic distance. Like I know Marv was saying earlier, like, oh, that would be like a too long or whatever. You don't have to make it 7 hours, like Alana was saying on her thing. Like you don't have to make it that long. You could cut it down or give us or build into the story a way for us to be able to travel from Earth to Mars in a reasonable amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I should be able to cut like some kind of drive on in my ship, and I should be able to like just be able to fly there at a certain speed, which would make it cut it down from 7 hours to 7 minutes or 6 minutes, something like that. Like, I think that they would have easily gotten a 10 and easily won Game of the Year if that one feature was in the game of just being able to travel inter solar system. I don't get the whole thing online where everybody's talking about like menu fields and like, I mean, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. There are more menus in here than I probably expected, but I don't think it's a thing that'll necessarily take you out of the game because you have to go into a menu to go to a planet and then go back to that menu to go out. Like, I think the way they have it set up is fine. Like I said, it was a missed opportunity between the travel interplanetary inside of a system, but I'm thoroughly enjoying the game and I haven't been taken out of it, the immersion at all. So,
Right. And yeah, they're doing this joke, call it a menu fill, because it seems like every time you do any kind of major action, it's some kind of loading screen pops up or a menu pops up or whatever. But I even read a Twitter because I haven't played Fallout 4 in a while, but I read a tweet about it, and someone said, people were saying, this is how if you're worried about the game having so much loading screens and menus, then you've never played a Bethesda game before, because that has always been there. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's true. Yeah, every Elder Scrolls and Fallout is just like that. It has never been like some kind of seamless, even though we may want that. Their engine and the way they make their games has never been a seamless like experience where you can walk in and out. Now we may expect that because it's a next gen title, and we have next gen consoles, or current gen or whatever. With the power that we have now, we may expect something like that. But the way Bethesda makes their games is a lot of role playing and talking, and so yeah, there's a lot. It's always been menu feel.
Bro,
So
I was just going to add to that real quick, not to cut you off, but you said exactly what I forgot to mention a few minutes ago. And this is how their games are set up. It's an RPG at its core. You do a lot of talking, you do a lot of going through menus, you do a lot of sorting inventory, you do a lot of moving things around to make things fit, pause, to get to do what you need to do. But this is how their games are set up. So it's just like, I don't understand where people are coming. It's the people who have never played a Bethesda game and that just hopped into this because it's a space game that don't understand what's going on. Like, I played Skyrim, like you said, it was the same thing. I played Fallout 4, it was the same thing. I played New Vegas, it was the same thing. Like, they're all set up the same. So for someone coming in saying that, it has to be someone who's never played a Bethesda game before.
Or is it just people that are really expecting a No Man's Sky experience? And that's been the ongoing battle on social media, is that a lot of people, a lot of gamers were expecting an experience very similar to No Man's Sky, which I gotta give No Man's Sky its props that it did build a game where you can do those type of things, where you can have this interplanet travel and travel through different galaxies, and they try to simulate real space travel and had procedural generated planets and stuff like that in solar systems. And I do think and here's the thing, I have to be in I gotta be in the middle here. I gotta be reasonable, because I'm not, we're not fanboys. We're not fanboys, but I'm not a Sony pony that's just supporting everything Sony. Could they have, like EJ said, could they have implemented a system where we could travel interplanet to where we had some kind of freedom? Yes, they could have. I think they should have done that, to be honest. And there's no telling if mods will probably help that. I'm hoping that when the mod system comes in, it'll change that, and maybe we can have that. But but I think through certain language and certain words and semantics, of course, every developer, every company is going to say all these amazing things about their games to sell. We got to remember that these people are trying to sell a game. I'm not saying this right. I'm not saying this is okay, but we know that happens in marketing. At the same time, I don't think the game not having the exploration capabilities like No Man's Sky takes away from the game. There's different other things that comes with it. There's a different level of exploration. That ship combat, for example, ship combat is great. What do you guys think about the ship combat? I think it's awesome. I think it's fun.
I think the ship combat is pretty good.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, it's definitely solid. The way you can slow down your ship, it reminds me of like the old thing in Fallout 4 where you could slow down gunplay, and you could pause it and get and aim at certain different parts of the body to shoot. Like you can shoot a dude's leg off or an arm off or whatever. Like, so I like how they put that in the ship thing. So that's just pretty cool. And then it's fast paced, it's actiony, and then when you do first person in that mode, it's like you in a ship, like you just like you're piloting the ship yourself. So I think it's great. I think they knocked out the park with that.
Right. What about you, Mar?
Me personally, I think the ship battling is pretty solid. I think, in my opinion, it may take a little bit of getting used to, or just like navigating the controls, but for the most part, I think it's pretty damn immersive, especially with you add in the factor of being able to build your own ship, the fact that you basically kind of can curtail your ship's like form of play in real time with designating like you taking certain energy away from one part of the ship and kind of putting the emphasis on another. Kind of makes it dynamic. So for instance, what I thought was real cool is like if you're trying to sneak past a ship, you can power down everything and only have 2 bars at the engine, and if you go slow enough, you basically are like invisible to certain enemies.
Right.
Like just having that kind of dynamic form, with the ship play and the ability to be able to dock, the ability to be able to kind of blow off certain things and then pick it up while you're in the middle of battle and in space. Like we have seen anything like this before, like in many ways. So I think that's incredibly dope. I love it.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
I think DJ can count for this too. The game definitely, I said this many times. It's definitely Fallout 4 Skyrim meets Mass Effect. Remember in Mass Effect, you had control over the ship and stuff like that. You can customize some things about it, but you never really had like full control of the ship like a lot of people really wanted of the Normandy. I was going to say, for example, like in Andromeda really, the last Mass Effect, the Andromeda really relied on fast travel when you wanted to go to different galaxies and planets and stuff like that. It did a fast travel, did the little cutscenes or whatever. This is very similar to that, but with ship combat. I can appreciate that part. But what you had to say, EJ?
What I was going to say was just, you mentioned Mass Effect, because this game is definitely a mixture of Fallout 4, Skyrim, and Mass Effect for sure. But if anyone from BioWare is listening, I will be highly disappointed if you don't take from what Starfield is doing and add that into Mass Effect. Like, Mass Effect to me, Mass Effect 2 was almost a perfect game. Like, it's my probably my first or second favorite game of all time. What Starfield has done with this, I could just see them being able to add this into what they've already done at Mass Effect and just make it better. Like, you should be able to add on stuff to the Normandy or whatever they are going to call the ship in the next one. You should be able to build stuff with ships. You should be able to do stuff with outposts and be able to build stuff on outposts and different planets, like the way that they have it to where you can explore different regions of planets in Starfield. They kind of had that thing where you go to different places of planets in Mass Effect, but this game is giving them a blueprint. So Mass Effect should be the next one, should blow it out the water, honestly. They've got too much to go on. So that's all I was going to say. That's cool.
That's right. Take notes. I want to say too, a lot of people also, I keep bringing up No Man's Sky because it's the obvious thing people are comparing it to. But when No Man's Sky first came out, it was highly criticized because it was basically you played a miner, and all you did was just go to planets and mine, natural resources out the planets and stuff. Like, there was a story, but the story was very skeleton. It was very lacking, and a lot of people complained about that, and people tried to defend it too. And its launch was it wasn't great, and people try to compare it now because compared to Starfield now, talking about No Man's Sky is way better than it was at launch. And I'm like, yeah, it's right now it's way better than it was at launch, because launch was like years and years ago.
Yeah,
It's been
launch was like
updated.
3-4 years ago. Yeah.
You're right. It's been updated multiple times. It has content in there now that has improved its quality of life. You don't think that Starfield is going to get improvements and updates, especially when the mods come in? This is the first day that the official launch is today, but this is the beginning of the game, the beginning of the game's release. We haven't seen nothing yet, and I want to say that, like we spoke about earlier on the missions and stuff like that. There's so many missions and so much content in here. The quality of life is is there. You're going to be busy for a long time. You just like Mar said, there's just so much to do. I don't know when I'm going to beat this game. There are some people saying that you should just complete the main story and then do New Game Plus and then do the side quest. So there's like so many things you can do. So I'm excited, man. I think this is a great release. I was like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and try to be where I can on my first playthrough, because they got other games coming out. So, there's still Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, you know what I'm saying? So let's try to beat as much as I can.
I will say this real quick before we move on to pros and cons, though. Mods is going to change this game completely. When I played Fallout 4, and I played it for the first time, I probably played about 60 hours into it, like the main thing. When I did New Game Plus and they released the mods, playing it over again was like playing a brand new game. Like all the stuff that you can put into it, there's extra quests that people put into it, there's new characters that people put into it, and with them talking about putting in new worlds, it's gonna change the game, bro. It's gonna totally change the game when mods come out.
Yep. All right, your personal pros and cons about the game. Marv, you first. What do you like? What do you really like? What do you don't like?
What I like the immersiveness of it. I actually like the combat. Combat's very, very seamless and smooth. It's almost a little bit like hella fast at times, but I like the weapon modding. I just like the custom. I like the fact that you can tailor the game to your own play style, which I really like. It doesn't really do too much to impede like what you can do bare bones wise to how you want to play. I like there's not too many things that I've encountered that have just been boring things to do. Like it seems like everything is interesting, like literally everything. Whether you have to go steal this small item and it turns into a big thing, I just hadn't just been like, oh man, it's just a string of just boring tasks to do. I haven't ran into anything where I'm just like, okay, this is kind of pointless for me to do. I just like that we actually got our money's worth. Like, let's just be honest. Like, how many games come out that give you, oh, this actually feels like this is $70 worth or $30 worth? Like, I feel like I got way more for $30 than what I've gotten paying $70 for Call of Duty or all these other franchises. So I really appreciate that. Cons, I will say, the UI can be a little like and like so far as traveling from place to place can be a little bit annoying, and then also the descriptions behind things, they don't really like point out. Like I really miss the days of like instruction manuals with games versus just like, okay, you drop into this experience, you just figure it out. Because I'm not gonna lie, the one thing that like really pissed me off when I started first playing is that like I was running out of bullets everywhere, and I was like, bro, I'm picking up ammo, but like what guns do these go to? Until I actually went to the weapon and it would show you like, oh, this is the ammo that it takes, but they don't make it apparent. Or if you go to like the actual ammo box, I wish the ammo box would be like, hey, this is acceptable with these firearms and weapons.
Yes.
They don't list that at all. That would be a huge help.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be like, okay, this 7.7, this 7.72 ammo goes with, the Equinox and yada 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 ammo, So it's like, oh, okay, I know I got this gun. I can pick up this box. It's worthwhile for me to carry versus like you picking up 15 ammo boxes and then you go to pull a gun and it says you have 0 bullets. And it's like, well wait a minute. Like what the hell, So that I would say is like literally my only con. Like honestly, outside of that's stuff that can easily just be patched. Like dead serious. So far as the main segment, this game honestly hasn't really done much to piss me off. Genuinely.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Okay.
So I'm still rocking with it.
Positives, Marv touched on it. Definitely combat. This is the best combat a Bethesda game has ever had. And if Marvin would have played Fallout 4 or Skyrim, he would understand the leap that they made from those games to this. Like, this is night and day when it comes to combat. I'm trying to think of what else. I haven't even really gotten to the shipbuilder yet, but I looked into it a little bit earlier before we got on the podcast. That's fire. Just how you're able to reallocate certain pieces to your ship to make it better in certain areas. Just the overall storyline. I think I haven't really gotten too deep into the main quest storyline yet, but so far I can already tell you it's probably one of the best ones that Bethesda has done. They just did some good writing on this one and how everything ties into a lot of the side quests tie back into the main quest. Just the sheer amount of things that you're able to do in this game is just phenomenal. I think it's like you go do one thing, like I said earlier, and then all of a sudden you're pulled into another mission doing something with somebody else. And then that mission, like Marv said, is not boring. You actually have things you got to do and stuff that helps out that person, but also gets you something in return. At first, I was kind of like, man, how are you gonna make money in this game? But the more and more I kept doing stuff, I was like, you get 7,000 credits here, 8,000 credits here. Like, you get paid for the stuff that you're doing. What was really cool was I stole my first ship last night. That was really cool. How you take out the engines on the ship, and then go and some spacer dudes was trying to get me, and some spacer dudes were coming after me, and then I took out the engines, boarded the ship, and then took them out and then took the ship. And all you gotta do is land and then pay for it to register it, and then it's your ship. So I got 3 ships now, so that's cool. I would say for cons, I spoke on it earlier. I do think interplanetary travel in the same solar system would have made this game just put it over the top. Like I said, like back when I was playing GTA, just like how you're able to drive anywhere you want with the music playing, and if you got passengers, they talking to you, like in the car, like that would have been cool to do something like that in space with Skyrim. With Starfield. But yeah, really, that is really my biggest con. I would say the thing that Marv mentioned too was something else I was going to say. Like, these guns have like 58 different ammos to them, and so it's hard to keep up. Like what ammo goes to what, and so basically, you just got to study. Like, does this go with this? Does this go with this? They need a way to label that so that we know what it is. But other than that, man, not too much. Like I said, we talked about with Todd Howard and them, like some of the language that they use when describing the game. I kind of think, they said some stuff that, they wanted to sell the game. And I think when the No Man's Sky stuff started, they should have shot it down immediately. But they're just like, hey, it's free publicity. You're going to compare us to another great game out there. We're going to take it. So they did what they did. But overall, not too many negatives. Mostly positive, as Marv said. So I'm loving the game so far, and from what I'm hearing, it only gets better. So,
great. For me, I definitely agree with the shipbuilding. We've seen on social media that people have already started taking advantage of shipbuilding, building some of the famous ships that we know, like the Millennium Falcon, the Halo Pelican ship, all kind of stuff, man. It's amazing. There's someone I was joking about the Star Trek Enterprise. Somebody made the Star Trek Enterprise, man. I'm like, okay, all right. So it is definitely that in depth.
I didn't see that one yet.
Oh yeah, you got to check it out. They did make it. Yeah, they made it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So yeah, shipbuilding is really awesome. I played around with it already and built mine. I'm trying to build this anime ship from my favorite anime, All Star. So we're gonna get on that one. And that's what makes it fun too, is that you feel pride of your creation when you definitely going into battle, taking on 3 ships that's trying to kill you. Yeah. So I also, of course, I love the mission, the quest line. Some of these side quests, they aren't side quests. These are full on like main quests.
Exactly.
So when I said quality of life, like these missions could be main stories all in itself, and some of these stories, these little quests, you just find out about them just walking down the street. Somebody is talking to you, and it pops up, and now you got a new mission, and you go embark on it, and you would think, oh, I'm gonna go do this little mission real quick, maybe get some credits. No, this is a hour and so long quest. This that crazy, and I like that about it because it makes it immersive, but it also gives me stuff to do. So I like all of that. I love how you can go to any other planet also and look at all the different ships they have to offer too. So I can go to this planet, they got this type of ships. I can go to the space station company where they build ships and they have a whole catalog of ships. I think that's pretty cool. It's like its own economy, its own business it's in this world, Starfield. There's so many things. The people are talking about the voice, the facial animations look weird and stuff. I mean, it's kind of stiff to a certain point. The eyes sometimes wander for certain characters, but this is if you play Bethesda, this is Bethesda system. It's how it is. So I'm used to that, and it looks really good. The game looks really well. People were complaining about 30 frames. This game looks beautiful. You can't even tell it ain't 30 frames at times. It looks that good. I'm playing on a Series X, and it's that good. I know some people are already getting 60 frames playing on a PC. So, but yeah, man. Of course, for Cons, the UI does need work. The biggest thing that I think needs an immediate patch is a local map, because sometimes I get lost sometimes. I don't know where I'm going. You know, it's easy to get real lost in these big giant cities. I got lost a couple of times in the city of Neon, because I didn't know how to get back to my ship. So, and you would think, hey, I can fast travel, but I'm encumbered, which is another con. There's a system called encumbered, where you take on too much weight. You take on too much weight, you can't fast travel, or you lose a lot of oxygen, and you start taking in CO. So there's all these little intricate things here, which is pretty cool. But I think Bethesda could have gave us a little bit more weight that we could handle instead of the small weight, because it's very easy to get encumbered and pick up, because you're picking up so many things. It's just so easy to get encumbered. So I wish they would have kind of let us, didn't have that so strict as it is now. I'm kind of getting over it. I have not played any of this game without being encumbered. I'm encumbered now. I think I'm going to be encumbered for the foreseeable future. I'm probably going to beat the game encumbered. So it is what it is. You guys already talked about the ammo situation. The other thing I have to say, the other con I would have to say is, of course, the weapon comparison. For example, you get a brand new weapon and you want to compare it, but you have to there's no since you don't have like a main gun, you can't compare it to really anything unless you have the gun out currently equipped or whatever. But if I wanted to use that gun to compare it to any other gun in my catalog, I can't do that. So I literally got to go manually down the list of weapons I picked up to try to find which gun is better. And sometimes that gets annoying. It's not a huge takeaway, but I would love for it to be a little bit more organized in a way where I can easily, especially when you know it's a game where you can pick up multiple weapons. Or I think Skyrim, if I remember correctly, EJ, you might notice, or if this was a Skyrim or Fallout, but I think you could click a weapon and then compare it to another weapon. So you could pick one that you want to compare it to against another weapon. And I don't see that here. So I would like that so that way I can compare, because sometimes you're picking up the same guns, but they have different abilities. Fallout 4. Yeah. Fallout 4, yeah. So yeah, there's sometimes I picked up 2 Orion weapons, and one had a certain ability, and one had a different.
There is a compare button, just to let you know, there is a compare button. It doesn't show you side pictures of the guns, but it shows you just stats.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I know there is one, but I would rather I can pick a gun and compare it alongside another one without having to do it with the main gun that I have equipped to me. It just makes it easier to just take away what you don't really need. So, but yeah, but aside from that, man, I'm excited, having fun with it. I don't even think I can give this game a score, because there's so much to do. I would be cheating it out of a score if I was to give it a score right now. So, because it's just so much to do. I'm like Angry Joe even said. He said I can't give it a score right now because it's gonna be a while. There's so much to do in the game. Even though he definitely does have a problem with the loading screens and the travel.
Sorry,
So
Joe's got you.
you're right. I can see Angry Joe giving it a 6 or 7 too. To be honest, because of the
I'm
space
gonna give
travel
it a
and the loading screens.
rating wise. I'm gonna give it pre-patch and anything else done to the game. I'm giving it an 8.5.
Okay.
8.5
8.5.
easy.
That's good. Okay. EJ, if you had to give it a score, what you giving it?
Right now, just off the first couple of days of playing, I think Marvin's dead on. I was going back and forth in my head. Should I give it a 8.5 or a 9? I want to finish more of the story first. I want to finish more of the side quests. They seem to keep getting better. But at this moment, right now, pre-patch, before they make any updates to inventory, stuff like that, and before mods, I would say 8.5 right now. But once I beat the game, I would say I need at least 80 or more hours in the game before I can give you like a final score. But I'd say 8.5 right now.
Gotcha. For me, yes, as of right now, I'm just playing the game for 4 days. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, and I'm going to give it currently a 4 out of 5. I think when mods come in, that'll definitely help boost the score. Is it a game of the year contender? I think so, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it's going to win game of the year. I think everyone knows what I think. I think that's going to go to Baldur's Gate 3. I think that's just what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
But it'll be a high contender. I do think. I think my final question to you guys, and you can add your final thoughts to this as well. My final question to you guys is this: does Xbox have a win here with their second biggest exclusive since the release of the Xbox? Is this a win? Is this a win? That's my question, y'all.
I'll say this. In my eyes, it's definitely 100% a win. There are always going to be people out there who are not going to like a game. It doesn't matter what game it is. People didn't like Elden Ring. People don't like Baldur's Gate. It is what it is. There's always going to be a community that comes out and complains about something. But I think this is truly the first time Xbox has had a game come out exclusive where there was a overwhelming side of positive, though, for this game. Like every other channel you go to, you've seen people just raving about it and how much stuff there is to do and how in depth it is and how the story is so great that I think it's a win. I 100% disagree with what Ryan McCaffrey said a couple months ago when he said this game has to be a 10 or it fails for Xbox. I 100% disagree with that. First off, y'all would never even give that game a 10. No matter how great the game was, it could have been traveling from galaxy to galaxy, take you 10 hours. Y'all still wouldn't give it a 10 because it's Xbox. So I don't agree with that statement at all. But and from my eyes, just the way that the community has responded to it, and with the sheer amount of stuff you're able to do in this game, and with the replayability value, people are going to be putting in over 100, 200 hours in this game. When mods come that'll completely change the experience, it has to be a win for them because people are going to continue to keep playing this game, and I think it'll be a game. People look back at the Series X and say that was one of the best games for the Series X.
Mar, what you think? Is it a win?
Easily, because it's just I agree with what EJ was saying, and honestly, replayability, they can consistently keep building up on this game, and we already know this game keep making money, or it makes a lot of money, bro. They're gonna keep giving people what they want because it's an endless. It's literally like Grand Theft Auto in space. You can do a ton of stuff with this. So yes, I do agree that it is a win. I know there's a lot of people who just. I hate that we're in the era that people want to still think there's a console war when at this point it really isn't. Like I think that's just a bad rap, and I don't like comparing like, oh well, they got better games over here. I think every system specializes in specific games, so it's kind of like it depends on what kind of gamer you are. But I feel like if you're a person that really likes in-depth and solid games, Starfield is something in this era of gaming that you should pick up and would want to pick up and play. So, yes, they have a win. for dang sure. And anybody who says it's not, I'm about to be like, okay, well, why do you feel that way? And tell me without having any biases based upon what kind of console you favor and what kind of game franchise you favor. And if you eliminate that, I'm pretty sure you're probably going to find very little to no arguments with it.
That's right. I think it's kind of hard to get a true, reasonable opinion without it being part of this proxy war with PlayStation and Xbox. And I think that's where a lot of the heavy criticism is coming from, because there's a lot of PlayStation fanboys that are still upset that, Bethesda is now an Xbox company, Microsoft company, and they won't be receiving Starfield, and most likely they probably won't be getting Elder Scrolls either on their console. But as for me, I do think it's a win. I think Starfield is a win. I think this is probably the best exclusive release that has come out since Series X. I think this is the beginning of some great games from Xbox. With that being said, it may not be game of the year, but it's a start, and I think it's going to have us busy for a long while coming, especially in this upcoming holiday part of the year where we're all about to go broke, because there's other games that's got to come out. So
last thing, Jay, before we end it, I will give some advice to Bethesda. This game is amazing. I love it. I think it's going to continue to get better. Please update your what do you call it that they got, that they're in their game engine or whatever it is. I don't know what Bethesda calls their engine, but before they make Skyrim or whatever, not Skyrim, before they make Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5, they're gonna have to update the game engine just a little bit.
Engine.
Like I can see the jump from Fallout 4 to Starfield, but I'm gonna really need to see a jump going to Fallout 5 and going to the Elder Scrolls 6, because, like you were saying with the animations and the face and stuff, you had some of that in Fallout 4. So I'm gonna need them to upgrade that for sure. Like, I can tell that they were able to scan people's faces in this game, and it looks a lot better as far as like character animation and stuff like that. But they're gonna need to upgrade that engine. That's just the only advice I give.
Right, especially now that a lot of companies and developers are moving to the Unreal Engine. You can't be using stuff like this.
Exactly.
So, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. Also, want to say I would say this: a lot of people are talking about how the game is being refunded. It's like the #1 game right now on Steam that's being refunded, or even on Xbox too. And I just want to say, someone brought up a good point. The only reason it's being refunded is because people wanted to play it to get that 5-day early access.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's free on Game Pass, and the same here's open.
Right. So it ain't because they think the game is horrible. They refund. No, it's a trick. Some of them smart.
Yep.
Right. All right, fellas. That's it. Make sure you guys follow us on all social media platforms. We'll see you next time. Hope you enjoy the game. Peace.
Feel free to follow us on all social media platforms. Catch us over on Spotify at the SHU Program and any other DSPs that you prefer to listen to podcasts on. Also follow us over on Instagram at the SHU Program. Follow us on Twitter at SHU_program. And also tap in with us, man. Ask any questions. Feel free to follow, DM us, reach out. If you like anything, follow us on YouTube. Please let us know, man. We really, really appreciate you all listening. We appreciate you all's feedback and tapping in with us content-wise, man. We would love to get to know you and figure out who's listening to us and what you all would like to see, and just for showing us consistent love week after week. Thank you all so much.